diys-by-dar. Let's create today with a blank canvas. This is a wooden tri-fold panel from Hobby Lobby, which I did get on sale for 30% off, so it was around $45. I've had experience with Hobby Lobby wood before, and I had a lot of bleeding problems, and I tried everything, and finally my Dixie Belle Boss was what worked for me. So I ordered some bonding Boss from Dixie Belle, which is their slick stick and their Boss mixed in one now. And I am going to go ahead and give this panel 2 coats of this, both sides. I did not want to run into any problems. I had to do some hand painting on this as well, because you always have those areas you can't get in. Now, the first coat, I noticed that I had some big divots, and sometimes that happens. You don't really see something until after you prime it and it dries. Well, that had to be repaired before I could get that second coat on. And yes, I did a visionary board for this one. This one was a little involved. I am ready to paint my silk all-in-one mineral paint from Dixie Belle in the color Anchor on this panel, just the front. I chose the silk because it has a built-in primer and it has a built-in top coat. So this was a bit of a challenge to hang on to, but there's the first coat. So while it's drying, let's talk about something else. I am a Made by Marley brand ambassador for their Decoupage paper company. And they have just the most awesome selection. If you want to check them out, go to their website. They have many stockists in the US at www.madebymarley.co.uk. Every Wednesday, we have a live, the Flippin' Bunch. It's at 7 p.m. If you need a reminder, text live to 814-515-4905 or just email live to flippinbunch@gmail.com. Now, here's the panel. And I know I wanted to put those 2 there, and there is the rest of my selection of my Made by Marley papers. This was a big set where there were 12 that came in with large flowers called dark flowers. I need to fussy cut these. And take yourself back to when you were in grade school and you had paper dolls and things that you cut out. Well, I am cutting out the main portion first to save on creasing my paper. Then I'm going back and I am cutting it right up to the line. That's a fussy cut. Lavon from Statement Designs came up with a great idea. If you have scrapbooking scissors, they're variegated, you can use those to cut along, and it saves a lot of trouble. She made a short on it. Now, I have 17.5 inches across that panel that I need to cover, and I want these 2 ladies in the middle down at the bottom. So I need to come up with a way that this paper will flow nicely when matched together, and I think I got it. So now I am going to take my panel and put it on my floor. Big mistake. You can see my couch and my table and see how tight that is. And I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. And most of you know that I have lupus, and I have 2 titanium hips, a titanium wrist, and my back. I'm not sure what I'm going to end up with there or even anything. But I should not have put this on the floor. I almost did not even get the 2 sheets pasted on. My back just couldn't take it. This is what I wanted it to look like in the end. So when I get that done, I have IOD transfers, bells and whistles from Dixie Belle, redesigned by Prima. I have a load of transfers I need to use. I'm going to get these 2 papers on. These are going to be the most difficult ones. So I need to take this one up a certain point and If I can get these on without wrinkles, it would be a miracle. I needed to keep that end up because the second sheet needs to feed under that big leaf. So when I get that in, and you can see I already have some creasing going on in my paper because I've been messing around with it. The less you can mess around with your paper, the better, because and then you have to go back and do repairs with some paint on your paper. And I find chalk paint works better for paper repairs. So I need to prop this flower up until I can get the other side down. So I'm going to go ahead and get my paste on this side and make sure that I spread it out nice and really push it into the pores, because this was a little bit of a textured surface. Getting my paste back on, it sort of dried out a bit before I got to this, and my back's killing me. I'm using this handy dandy tool. It is just like for wallpapering, and it was getting a little rough, so I put a little piece of velour on the end of it, and I found out it worked great, but it was rubbing off my color from my design. So I had to come up with something different. Now, just plain decoupage your cutout flower with the paste on the back, set it down, slowly smooth it out, no wrinkles. I go around with my brush on the edge and just kind of see if I can get it to lift, because if it lifts, there's no paste there. So I need to get some paste underneath it. I just try to push that brush back as far as I can get it to go, and then just paste it down. And this one is on good with no wrinkles, and it's pasted down good. Now here's a big flower, and I did pre-paste that with Mod Podge, and I'm starting in the center. I'm working my way out. I want to work any wrinkles or bubbles out to the edge. You can see I left the edge up. I'm not going to put it down yet. And I have my tool again. What I did was put a piece of wax paper around it. Oh my gosh. Somebody needs to patent this. Well, it just pushes everything right out to the edge, and that wax paper makes it slide. So when you have paste underneath, you can see that will push it right out, and you can wipe the edge off so you're just not smearing paste around and getting it to stick. And then I'm just wiping that paste in for my edge. I love this. I will not be without it anymore. Now, I had these sections that I made templates for because some peel and stick wallpaper is going to be inserted in there. And how I did this was they have those sections already. I just made an indentation in the paper, and I cut that paper out, and then I applied that paper and just held it on with a couple little tiny pieces of tape. And that way I'm ready to go when my wallpaper gets here. And it's going to help me visually because I'm having a hard time visualizing this. So this helps a lot in how I want to bring these flowers down. And boy, did I visualize. Well, let's keep going. I have a plan in mind, and I'm getting this piece of decoupage paper on, and you can see I'm putting it over a crack. And we'll let that dry and come back, and I'll show you how to cut it. I am ready for some transfers. This is a bells and whistle from Dixie Belle Wisteria, and I need this to go on completely straight because they need to be hanging vertical. So I am going to peel the paper back, and then I just have the transfer sheet with the transfer still stuck on it. I'm going to gently set that in place as straight as I can first, because once you tap it down, then you are committed to wherever you put it. And then I'm going to reach for the piece and just slowly unpeel it and work my way across, pushing down that transfer to make good contact. Then I need to find a burnishing stick, and I will be burnishing for the next 15 minutes. So all my flowers are decoupage down, and the top is complete with the flowers, the transfers, and the decoupage. And I'm liking where it's going so far. And here is the cut. You can either go straight down the center and come from the back and put some more paste on and put those ends down. Or if you have a really sharp knife, just cut it from the edge. Here is my wallpaper, and it is just big, giant lotus flowers. And I took my template and I went ahead and cut each individual one out. And then I went ahead and I applied this. And there we have it. It looks great. You need to really push hard on that peel and stick. I need to finish this side, and what it's showing me is a pond. And I am going to continue that color from the paper all the way over on this very first panel. Went in with a few different colors. I probably should have used a little more blue, but this green came in handy, and I'll show you in a minute what I did with it. I started over into the other paper, which was more blue, and did repairs with this light green, very watered down. You see that rough area there? Very watered down because the fibers are all roughed up, and you just need to get some paint in them fibers to give it color again. And you can see on the lady's dress, I have an area there that I am going to have to paint over. Well, the colors are matching good, so I'm all right with that. We shall proceed to adding all these 3-year-old koi fish and lily pads and lilies. You need to keep your transfers in a dry, nice, ambient temperature, sealed, because when they get old, they will lose some of that stickiness. And I've had these for, like I said, 3 years, and I had fun, but I did get them all on. When I have a problem with something like this, I try to start at the biggest end and at least get it started where it's sticking down. If I have to use my thumbnail and really exert some pressure just to get it started, I will. Once I can get under there, sometimes you can use your finger and help peel that sheet off while you're smoothing down the transfer. Just a little trick I learned right there. You can see I'm doing it when you got a transfer that's not real sticky. If you get to a portion that keeps wanting to lift, change your direction. Go for the other side and peel towards that area. And then you can get that to come off. Well, just 5 more to go. Probably at least take me up to dinner time. I'm rubbing it just to get any of the edge off the halo. Wow, I'm liking it, except for that pond just needs a little bit more of something around it. Like maybe those black type of leaves that are kind of coming up. I painted a couple right there on the pond side. I'm liking how it's looking, so I'm going to go ahead and complete these all the way around. These were my choice because they were relatively easy to paint. If you just take a rounded brush with a point at the end, you can either start fat and go up light, or go the other direction and start light and press down and go fat. So like this leaf, start light, press down, and you end up being fatter on the end, and it gives a really nice perfect leaf. I will have to go back and paint them in with just a little bit more color. Well, if you wanted to leave them, you could leave them too. So just start light and go down fat. Press it down and make it fat at the bottom. And that one was a little wobbly. I'll fix it or leave it the way it is. I don't think in the grand scheme of things you'll really notice it. But this is the direction to go. I am liking it, so I will complete that around the bottom and up the other side. Now here is a dress with a crease, and I have some color shift paint by Old Folk Paints, and it is a green, yellow, just a color shift, not really completely iridescent, but I am going to completely paint the dresses in and give them just a little bit more of a pop. And I really liked how they turned out. It was well worth the effort. Rope. What am I going to do with rope? Star Bond medium multi-purpose CA glue. I am dousing this rope with this glue because I want it to become rock hard so I can cut the end off so it will never fray or come apart. In that little groove, this is a piece of rope that is almost a champagne-y gold color. And I have my tight bond glue and I put that in the track, and cutting it, oh, it was really hard. That stuff was hard. I pulled my whole rope out of my track. I had to reset it all and let those dry. I am to the back finally. I've put a couple pieces on of this peel and stick wallpaper. So I'll get this one on. I had to use that little tool and really press hard because it started to fall off at the top. Any pointers? I followed the directions. I've never used it before, but a firm hand was definitely needed. Okay, what did you put in there? I just couldn't leave it alone. I have stencils and some gold leaf, liquid leaf paint, and I decided to give all the black behind the flowers, any of the black, a little bit of this liquid leaf. You do need to use it in a well ventilated area, and I just twirly twirly. Sometimes I had a lot on my brush and they were really dark gold. You could see the gold, and sometimes it was just a little bit lighter. So it was just more of a light image, which gave it a variation between all the leaves that I added. And I did not put them over the top of my flowers. I just went up to the edges. So that took me a little bit, but I'm ready to seal with my polyacrylic maximum sealer flat matte. This is going to get 2 coats. Said you really only need to put 1, but you know, as crazy painters, we have to make sure things last. So it did get 2 coats. And there it was when I started. My husband helped me get it home, and it was a beast to deal with. And here it is now. Thank you so much for watching this, and if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them. I want you to like, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. No video next weekend. Next video, hopefully March 30th for the Hope Challenge, hosted by Crystal from the Crafty Creech. Check her out for the details.